Hey guys, this is Drew from Drew Story News. Welcome to another Drew Story News podcast. I hope everybody is well. And I wanted to jump on here and talk to you guys and just, I don't want to leave you guys hanging too long. I kind of like to at least do a video a month on this podcast. So, okay guys, I'm going to do a few things today. I'm going to talk about the Cosby case because there's an update with him being denied parole. And I notice a lot of people in the spiritual communities, they don't really talk about a lot of regular things. And I get it. They're a little beyond. But a lot of these things have very important societal ramifications. So, it is important for at least some of us to address these things. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I'm also going to bring in a guest, Daniel. He usually has a lot of great questions, so we're going to talk to him a little bit, see what's on his mind. And finally, we're going to talk a little bit about the JABs and the normies and how they are affecting the world today. And by normies, I mean the folks that really don't know what is going on. They're following all the rules, obeying the CDC, the government. They're wearing masks everywhere still. And even as things get really weird, strange, and sketchy, I mean, they're giving out raffles for getting jabbed. They're trying to make it a requirement for travel and work. A lot of people are just still, we've been talking about this a long time and warning about these very things for years, literally. As it is all unfolding, they're just not getting it, and they're fully compliant. But a conversation that we need to start having about the vast majority of people being so programmed as they are. There is a societal danger there that needs to be discussed. So I'll touch on that. The normies are going to turn on you and your rights. And we really need to start preparing for what's coming down the pike. So let me just briefly talk about what's been going on with me. I've been on a musical hiatus as a promise to some friends and special people in my life. And I am a man of my word. I came through. And that actually has led to a lot of different things and opportunities. So I'm deeply immersed in that. And another musical project that I'm going to be putting out soon, featuring various singers that I'll be producing, and excited to work on that. So I've kind of been busy with that. And of course, my usual hustle, the voiceovers. That's a daily constant. So yeah, I've been very busy with that. But I do want to jump in here and talk about those topics. I kind of stretch these things out because I'm sure you've heard it from other people. It's just a good idea. When you do this sort of thing, you need to take breaks, mental health breaks, because when you are a content creator, doing things like we do or truth communities, you need to take mental breaks for your psychological health, because you can't talk about these topics all the time and not have it affect you to some degree. So you got to come up for air. You got to lay off the social media. You got to stop for a little bit here and there, because you can't keep pounding the drum and doing this. A lot of subscribers on the main channel know me for my Bill Cosby coverage. And I'm going to use that story to segue into the current theme of this podcast, the normies. Now, bear with me. A lot of people in truth communities, we're just taking off the gloves, whatever. Forget being politically correct. Forget being all nice and, mincing words. The time for that is over. And we just got to call things as they are. The normies, the coincidence theorists, the dumbed down masses are dangerous in 2021 and beyond. They are a problem. The people who believe the science, who believe the, everything the mainstream media tells them, without any critical thought. They don't question anything. They just believe the official stories, and that's it. We're in an era in which they are now extremely dangerous, and I will explain why. So, those who know me, I'm not a name caller. I'm not someone who just, labels anyone. That's not my MO. I'm not interested in that. But it's important for those of us who are awake to be aware of the current climate in order to know how to move forward and how to protect ourselves and how to navigate in the landscape that we're in now. So let me begin by talking about the Bill Cosby situation right now. He was denied parole. 83 years old, nonviolent man, no criminal history, was denied parole. And the media outlets strategically do not inform you about what's going on with that. I have to be honest. If you believe that Bill Cosby is a serial rapist, and you believe what they told you, you are of the cognitively challenged masses. Most people are just intellectually, cognitively having issues. This is all going to collapse and come undone one day. I don't know when that day is. It could be tomorrow. It could be in 20 years from now. But it can't hold up. If anyone has any common sense whatsoever, and you look at the evidence, you look at the, what the women have said, and you realize that most of what these women said couldn't be true. Timelines were wrong. Statements were incorrect. Things didn't check out. Everything was just wrong. At some point, eventually, this is going to crash. This is going to collapse. This was an agenda. Let me just explain what's going on now, why he was denied parole. What they've done, because this is just an evil situation. They tied his parole to conditions. One of them being that he needed to register or agree to a sexual therapy thing, and Bill Cosby refused. And rightly so. He should not have done that, because the media did not explain to anyone, had he done that, it might jeopardize his entire appeal case that's in court right now. He's appealing this conviction. And if he could have gotten let out, basically, they could have let him out if he basically agreed and conceded guilt. That's what they did to him. And every clueless person running around, not knowing anything, believing he's a serial rapist, never knowing what's going on, never knowing what the facts are of the case, never educating themselves on anything. They just believe what they're told. They don't go this far into understanding intricate, details to this situation. They had one of the conditions being he needed to agree to take these classes, and had he done that, that's a concession of admission, rather. I'm sorry, and that's an admission of guilt that could jeopardize his appeal, and his appeal could collapse. So he would have gotten out nowish if he just agreed and consented to the demonic system in place that put him in there, and he could have been let out. But he'd be let out as an ex-convict, and he's not accepting that. He's going for his vindication, and he's likely to get it, and they know that, and they're scared of that. Now, I don't believe anybody knows that or believes that, because unfortunately we're surrounded by non-thinking entities that believe what they're told in the news. But the truth is, at some point, whether it be today, tomorrow, 10 years from now, the law has to prevail in his favor, because everything was wrong with this case. The women were lying, clearly lying. They had all these inconsistencies. They stacked the deck on him, forced him into trial twice, made numerous egregious mistakes. I mean, this was a trial by media. Bill Cosby was Me Too'd into jail. This was not a legitimate case, and everything is wrong about this case. The man should not be in jail. And that's why he's not agreeing to any of these things that they're trying to get him to do, because they want to have him guilty, because they know the story's going to fall apart eventually. But if they get him to agree and admit to these things, they can keep the story intact. He's going for the bigger fish, as my friend and fellow content creator said, phrased it. And so people don't really know the strategic moves that he's making as a man of honor and integrity. But media is selling you the story of, he raped 1,000 people and then nobody knew and they didn't have any evidence, but he just did it because he was secretly the most prolific rapist. And you see how the cognitively challenged masses, they just are struggling with the ability to use logic or reason. They cannot think. They are 100% programmed by mainstream media. And you see the trolls and the people in the comment sections. Anytime, his name is mentioned, they say the same dumb things over and over. Well, he admitted it. No, he didn't admit it. They don't know anything. They just regurgitate nonsense. What about the Spanish Fly episode with they just repeat nonsense and regurgitate talking points that were fed to them. And so this charade is just going on and on and on and on. But for those of you who do know the details of this case, of course, this woman, Andrea Conson, was not telling the truth. And of course, this is absurd. This whole trial is absurd. He consensually had petting sessions with this woman. This is the real story, not the version in the media that people believe without question. They had petting sessions, consensual petting sessions. They were kind of dating for a while, seeing each other and having kissing and petting sessions. On one of those occasions, she's alleging that she was given something and she couldn't move. There was no sex. There was no penetration. He digitally penetrated her. And he did it before. I'm telling you the truth. You can look these things up. But on this particular occasion, she's claiming that she was under the influence of something he gave her. And so, again, no rape, no sex. It was a petting session that he did before. But this time she has a claim attached to it. So for a petting session for this, he's in jail doing 3 to 10 right now. And they denied his parole. And the whole thing is scandalous. She would never have won the case on her own because she lied multiple times on the stand, and they were able to decipher that. Tom Mesereau was actually able to point that out. Inconsistencies, credibility issues. And so to win the case, they piled on 5 additional women. And this is actually the second time that they threw him in court. The first time ended in mistrial. So they threw him in court again. And the second time, the judge literally allowed all these women to pile in to say, yeah, you did it to me too. They had no evidence. They did not have due process for these cases. They just let women come in and say, yeah, he did it to me too. And then they prejudiced the jury and convicted him. And so they denied his parole. But I'm going to talk about this in another separate Bill Cosby video, because it deserves its own long conversation. This is just something I haven't addressed because I'm tired. I said everything that I've needed to say on this topic, and so have others, trying to expose this massive fraud, this high-tech lynching. On the main channel, I give you guys the receipts, the evidence, and, just wait for that. I'll give you all of that. Here, this is the podcast. I'm live just talking. So I'll let you know covertly what's going on here. The image of Mr. Cosby. They wanted to kill and destroy. They kill celebrities all the time. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. I know the little normies, they live in a cocoon of make-believe land where, there's an explanation, a coincidence, and everything has a reasonable explanation. But for those of you who want to get real, yeah, there's lots of people who were bumped off. But that wouldn't be what the powers that be want with him. They were killing an image. Some people connected the Kinder Morgan, the oil company, to him. There's lots of conspiracies. NBC, he wanted to buy NBC. There's a lot of possible reasons why this is going down. But the one I vibrate with most is that, he didn't fit the Luciferian agenda that they had in mind. Bill Cosby, whether you love him or hate him, he was almost single-handedly responsible for uplifting the image of Black America. I had a brother even tell me, you know what? It was from watching him, the Cosby Show, that I actually wanted to go to college, and I was like, yeah, bro, that's actually what he did for a lot of people. It was the first time that people saw just a real wholesome, positive image of Black America. Two successful working parents raising children, and about education and family values, and it really inspired a generation to do better, and it really painted Black America in a different light to white America and people from all over the world, because America has always been a place that cultivates and exports racism by design. And in terms of image, it's a nation that likes to export trash, the drug dealer, and derogatory images of Black people. That's their MO. Bill Cosby was messing it up, with that show. And it didn't fit the Luciferian agendas they had in mind. They wanted to eventually push people like Billy Porter wearing his dresses. They wanted to push gender confusion, sexual androgyny. They wanted to disrupt the family. And so having a father figure, strong, respected like that, they couldn't just kill him. That wouldn't be enough. They needed to character assassinate that image. We're dealing with demonic psychopaths, people. And you either want to get real or just stay asleep. Just get off my channel. But I'm talking to people who are ready to hear what's going on. And so, this was a modern day lynching. And you have the normies, clueless as always, going along with the narrative they were spoon-fed, with zero cognitive abilities, zero ability to use logic and reason, critical thought. They just believe what they're told. And in order to keep the conditioning in place, they use sellouts, they use celebrities. Jaleel White, Urkel was the most recent to just bring out a Bill Cosby story that didn't even make any sense, because he's trying to push a weed business right now. And so, they use Black sellouts all the time. The celebrities have become, not all. Anytime I mention a group of people, whether it be people in media, doctors, whatever, I don't mean all, but a lot of celebrities have become dangerous, very, very dangerous, because they have them out fulfilling all sorts of agendas these days, and they're getting more and more dangerous. They're encouraging people to get inoculated with the jabs. They're encouraging all sorts of stuff. But you have Urkel bringing up Bill Cosby. You have other celebrities bringing up Bill Cosby at convenient times. Jaleel White did this right before they were going to announce the parole. So a lot of these celebrities, they're not the brightest, and some of them that do, they don't care. They're just they're serving the self. They're looking out for their own projects and the things that they're trying to promote. So watch out for that. Watch out for that. And this is part of the reason why we can't rise up as a people. We have too many traitors and sellouts and opportunists and weak, sleeping people that can never see the forest through the trees. And so, the normies. Again, guys, this is not to name call. It's to wake you up and talk real about the current climate and how they are becoming very dangerous to life as you know it. Let's talk about the jabs. And we're moving out of the Piscean age into the age of Aquarius. And in this great reset, what we are witnessing is the reaping, the culling. And you know what? A lot of people in the truth community are starting to realize and say, hey, bring it on. Let it be and bring it on for the greater good. I've been pounding the pavement. Pardon me. I've been pounding the pavement and spreading the word out. And by and large, we don't get listened to when the internet gets censored and they rip the truth down from pages. The people, the masses, they cheer and they side with the government. They side with big pharma. They side with their oppressors. This is what I'm talking about. The pervasive cluelessness, the ignorance, the brainwashed masses that just go along to get along, and they don't resist. They just comply. They don't have discernment. They don't use common sense. They don't use logic. They don't use reason. And they're proud and they're happy to get jabbed up. They're thrilled, and there's no discernment, and it's sad. And I've been trying to make people aware, because it became, for those of us who know what's going on, and it's very few of us, it became a number one issue. I know that there was other things going on. I know that there were other topics of the day, but one of the most important topics I think was missed on a lot of people. They didn't know how important this was. And it didn't matter what race you were. It didn't matter what gender you were. It didn't matter what ethnicity you are. This was something that affected everyone very seriously, globally, on a global scale. And so this was topic number one, but not for normies. And I tried to bring an awareness to this, but, a lot of people made a decision, and it is what it is. But if you cannot see that this is very sketchy at this point, that something weird is going on, they're giving out hamburgers and fries to get inoculated. They're giving out lottery tickets. They're doing everything, giving out all these weird incentives. If you can't see now at this point that something is wrong, and if you still think for whatever reason that this is about health and, bringing down numbers, you are of the cognitively challenged. You don't have eyes to see. You can't see. And, a lot of us in truth communities, we're done. The prophets have spoken, as they say, and what's done is done. And you believe Joe Biden and Cuomo and all the politicians that are so good, and they love you, and the government and the pharmaceutical companies, and you think that this is good and they're here to help. Well, go on and get it. Get it tonight. Go get it tonight. Why wait? Why wait? If this is how you feel, if you really searched your soul and searched your gut instincts, and you really feel that this is good, go get it tonight. Why wait? Why wait? There were so many instances that should have made people pause. There were so many repeat fails in history that should have raised an eyebrow. Let's talk about 1976, the swine flu scam, like where they exaggerated. The government, same pharmaceutical industry, lied and exaggerated about swine flu. So many people. Gerald Ford, the president at the time, got inoculated live on air for all to see. He took pictures. Same kind of thing. We know now in history that was a big lie. It was an over-exaggerated issue. A lot of people got hurt and harmed from those inoculations, and they paid out lawsuits, and it was a big mess. And you can just Google it. 1976 swine flu V word. Go ahead, Google it. They do the same things, and same things keep working for some reason. It's amazing. Go ahead. There was anthrax. There was lots of them, guys. And now here we are today with this virus. And if you now suddenly, for whatever reason, find them trustable, and they're good now, and they have your best interest at heart, go on. And people like to look at themselves, imagine themselves, I should say, at different points of history, being on the right side of history, in all these regimes where these draconian totalitarian regimes took over, and Nazi Germany. A lot of people imagine themselves as the heroes, but the truth is, no, they're not. They're the weak, spineless, brainwashed masses. This is what we're seeing now, and something that should raise a red flag when it comes to human rights, ethics. They're trying to push this system, this new system where your papers are required for entry, because you need to do what the government or the health authorities say to do, say you must do. People really, truly don't see how this was planned out and how this is problematic. People don't see the problem with that, or that maybe this was kind of planned in the works for a while. This whole thing that they have lined up, where in order to travel, in order to enter establishments, you're going to need these papers and these jabs. People really, truly don't know what's in it or what the long-term effects would be. But government says, shut up, this is the cure, you must take it to get back to normal so that you can have your freedoms. We're insisting you take this. And weak, scared people who don't really know anything, like what I just told you, the swine flu and anthrax fiascos and all this stuff that, would let you know that their track record is horrendous. And no, you should not listen to a word they say. Well, no, they do the exact opposite. We're complying. Here's my sticker. People are dead. They're already dead. Their eyes are closed. Their spiritual eyes are closed. And if you think fluoride was bad, oh, did they up the ante? Oh boy. They just trust these experimental concoctions. They don't really know what's in them. They don't know what it's going to do to them in 3 to 5 years. And why I say 3 to 5 years, because that's when stuff is going to get real. Not instantly. A lot of people did die instantly. Over 4,000 if you look it up in the VAERS system. And when you realize that there's over 4,000 deaths in the VAERS system, you have to know, using your common sense, that there's plenty more than that. That was just what was reported. And they put a tight screen on what they actually allow to get reported. And they're admitting over 4,000 deaths. So food for thought there. And you have this draconian existence that we live in right now, where the internet is scrubbed. You can't say anything. We can't even say the word. And everybody's just okay with this. Everything's great, and we want to be safe. And I'm doing my part. And they're so happy and proud to be inoculated. And, they're so thrilled, and they post their Band-Aid picture and their stickers, and it's like, yeah, you go. Sad times. And everybody's walking around still, even though they were freed, they're still walking around with face masks, fully convinced that they need to do that. People are dead. They're dead. And this cannot be fixed. This cannot be fixed. These people are the walking dead, and a part of the reaping, unfortunately. What I'm going to do now, I like to keep my channel open to people who've supported me through the years, and they always come back and they ask questions and ask when I'm going to do another video. And I'm going to do a big video on the main channel soon. But, I'll keep these podcasts coming. I'll keep the blogs coming in the meantime. But one of the, subscribers and friends that, always drops by is Daniel. And he always has some questions. And that I definitely try to help him with, and he asks good questions, and we usually have a good conversation that is good for the podcast or the videos. And he obliged, when he asked me things privately, to post these questions because they're good for everyone to hear. So we're going to bring him on. Actually, I'm not going to do the live Zoom thing. I'm going to do the audio thing for now, because this is going to be aired audio on Spotify, Pandora, and all that. So let's bring Daniel in. All right, man. So yeah, not to hold you up, like, what did you? The last time you hit me up, there was things on your mind, and it's recording now, just so you know.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, you had some things on your mind, and I like talking to you because sometimes you represent what a lot of people are thinking, and you live in families where thinking might be a little challenged.
Ain't that the truth? Challenged or outright rejected is more like it.
Right. And we spoke about some things, and you wanted to air things out. So yeah, just touching base with you. So with all that said, is there anything on your mind, or something you want to get off your chest, or any questions you need to ask?
All right, yeah, there were a couple of questions. Let me look through some notes, and I jotted it down, so give me just a second while I go and look for it. Hold on.
Okay.
I think the last question I asked the last time I spoke to you was in regards to like where and or how we can find these people who are aware of what's going on, who can like see the forest through the trees, who can like release the wool over our eyes, because really just most people don't seem to have a clue as to what's really happening. So
right,
my question is, like, where and or how do you find those people who understand what's really taking place? Like,
okay,
the truth behind the lies. And
right. I guess it's easy for me as an individual, because I kind of put my thoughts out there, and you find that like-minded people are going to gravitate to like-minded people. And it's good that you say that. The people who do know what's going on are the most quiet. They don't want to speak on social media. They don't want to say anything because everyone's gone insane. Like, they're walking around in mass. They believe that, they need the inoculations, and we're going to try to avoid that word, the real word, the V word. Yeah. They're walking around. They have, all of a sudden, Big Pharma's the good guys. The government's the good guys. They've lost their mind. Society is seeing something that we've never seen before. We know programming. We know people are being manipulated. We've always known that. But we're seeing things heightened and perfected. We're living in perfected times where they've perfected their strategies of mind control, media manipulation, and people are walking around living their lives. They don't read Freud. They don't read Nietzsche. They don't read Pavlov. They don't know that everything they think has been manipulated, and this whole thing has been planned. And they're walking right into something, believing they're thinking with their own mind. So social media has a lot of bad things and has a lot of good things. That is probably the thing that's uniting people. People have hit me up. I didn't know these people, and they're just like, they're adding me as friends, and then they're talking. And I think that's the way it's happening now. People are going underground. They can't talk online, and they just feel that we're living in a zombie apocalypse where people don't have the ability to reason anymore. So you'll catch people say a comment on social media if they're brave enough to do that, and then you can see, okay, oh, that person, like, wow, I'm not alone.
Yeah. But the thing is, on social media, you have to be able to actually see what you need to see before it gets taken down, because I mean, censorship on there is at a level I've never even seen in my life. And I'm not even on social media, but every other day I'm seeing this is getting censored, that's getting censored. So it's like, wow. I mean, you said it yourself. You've never seen anything like this in your life, and I haven't either. And
Right.
mind you, I'm not even on social media, but I can definitely feel that this is a war like no other.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's also groups and things. There's people. There's a lot of groups on Facebook, and I'm a part of groups, and Instagram groups. They're sharing information, but it's kind of us talking to ourselves now. Like we already know what's going on, and people are at different levels of this kind of awareness, so we kind of share information and balance each other out. But
Yeah.
that's just the way things are now, and a lot of truth channels are they're done. They're stepping away and just letting it burn.
Yeah. And also with the censorship, it's the outright perversion and reversal of truth and heroes, if you will, because truths are being mixed with lies, or even being turned into lies, if you will, because the lies are being told as truths, and the villains, the evil ones, are being made out to be the heroes. So it's like, what the hell is happening?
Absolutely. And you see people, and I have a lot of normie friends, and they're praising guys like Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci, and then they're defending like these people. Like,
I just can't.
You just gotta let them be and not disturb them, and just what's up. So you just kind of like, I don't waste time getting into Facebook or social media debates, because what's the point?
Exactly.
These people have a limited understanding of everything, and they're also, on top of that, they're lost in their ego, and they think it's you who are clueless if you don't go along with Gates and Fauci and the CDC and the WHO, and you don't follow the rules and comply, and they have everything backwards. That's correct what you said. Everything is backwards.
Honestly, I lose sleep thinking about what could happen. I hate to say it, but I mean, it's
really.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Drew. I do lose sleep a lot of nights sometimes thinking about what could happen, and I mean, I try not to really think about it too much throughout the day. But I mean, I just can't help but think how did we get here? What are we doing? What the hell is happening? And I wonder sometimes, can we make it past this? Because, I mean, even though I understand what's going on, which is going to lead into my next question, I mean, just, can we make it past this? That's not exactly the question I want to ask, but I guess, I mean, since I already asked it, I mean, I guess I can get your thoughts on that.
Right. I'm being brutally honest with people now, and that's why I'm posting less. I'm talking more offline lately than I am online. But to be brutally honest, we're living in a time where there's a paradigm shift. People call it different names. They call it the Great Reset. Things are not gonna go back to the old normal. And to answer your question, are we gonna make it? Well, who's we? It depends on you gotta understand, everyone is not going to fare well with the changing world ahead. Some people have made permanent decisions that are irreversible at this point. And it means something, and we're gonna find that out. Maybe 3-5 years. There was decisions made based on trust. People are gonna have to learn that lesson. What do you believe versus what do you know? And people confuse the two all the time. If you believe Dr. Fauci and people, you don't know that these guys are lying corporate shills. So some people are going to be okay if you navigate. What city are you in?
I'm in Houston right now.
Okay. You'll be okay, man. There's no need to worry or stress yourself out. That's the last thing. That's what you should not do. is fall into the fear vibration. But, truth be told, what's going to happen, I'm not going to mince any words. I'm going to tell you the truth. You're going to see the government, the world governments, all the world governments are going to attempt things that they've never attempted before. Our generation hasn't seen what they're attempting to do now. They're getting more audacious, bold, and they're going to attempt a lot of things that we've never seen them try to do before. And in doing this, you're going to see a split in society. You're going to have one half of society, the weak, obedient, sheepish people like, oh, no, we need to be safe. We want to do this. And they're going to be obedient and compliant. And you're going to see other people standing up. No, enough. It might be protest, might be resistance. And you just have to navigate yourself on the right side of society. And if you're smart and you are one of the ones aware of what's going on, trust that you will make smart decisions for yourself. And in order to stay safe, not give in to the agendas and get to places where, if you see things getting hot, just be in safe places. But, last thing to do is stress out. We don't know that they're going to be successful. There's a huge possibility that they won't be, because I think they're seeing that, some of society is a little bit more awake than they had anticipated. But more than anything, do not be afraid. You don't have to worry. You're awake enough to understand what's happening, and you're probably awake enough to know what smart decisions to make in order to keep yourself safe and be just fine.
I think as easy as it is to tell other people not to panic, how would you convey it in such a way that can help bring about spiritual calmness and clarity in the midst of all this confusion?
Very, man, awesome question. Awesome question.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've been doing that, and that's probably why I was less active on social media and with the content and with the videos, is because I was working on myself. I'm living in this world too, and I'm reacting to what's happening, and I have to, remember to take care of myself, self-care, meditate, really plan, for myself. And I think that I have a peace now because I've accepted things. I have to accept that other people are on their own journey. They're going to make their own decisions. I'm making my own decisions. And I have a wealth of information and an awareness that I protect. My pineal gland is popping. I'm connected to something higher, so I'm sure of myself and my decisions, and I'm sure that I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm making the smart decisions, and you just have to live and let be. Don't give in to fear and panic. That is the lowest vibration, and I think fear and panic is what led a lot of people to make foolish decisions and to trust in people or things that they probably shouldn't have if they were connected to their higher self. But they've been disconnected to their higher self and either further severed from their higher self with, a lot of the recent medical decisions people are making. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. If you thought fluoride was bad, But nah, you're right. Don't fear, don't panic. Learn to accept and embrace, the reality that a lot of people are going to do what they're going to do. And it's a part of their journey. It's their decision. And just be at peace,
All right.
This is
terrific.
Yeah, this was needed. This is meant to happen. And you'll understand later that, things will balance out. Things will be what they're supposed to be in time.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's important to mention too, because even I'm not sure if they will, but deep down, I'm sure that they will, even though right now I feel like they will not. But as far as the decisions other people make, whether they're good or not so good. I mean, it will balance out. I really do feel that now after having this little conversation with you. So just let it go and just don't do anything foolish and don't panic. I think that's the number one key, and just stay calm.
Right, right. And things get bad before they get better. And we're at a bad point in time in history. We're at a bad point. And trust, eventually things may get bad and it may get a little worse in the weeks and months ahead, but things will be better, and just never forget that.
All right. Thank you so much, Drew. Thank you, man.
All right, man. And we'll stay in touch, and I'll let you know when this is coming. Oh, you know the channel.
All right, yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course. I do have so many other questions, but I mean, they're extremely detailed, and, I'd rather save them for, if and when we have like a virtual or maybe even one day like a face-to-face conversation, maybe sometime down the road. But
all right, no problem, man. I'll definitely make myself available.
All right, terrific. Thank you so much, Drew.
All right, Daniel, be good.
All right, thank you. Let's talk again soon.
Will do. Later, man.
All right, later.
So what to look out for in the horizon? Well, wouldn't be surprising if there was another lockdown in our future. Unfortunately, guys, they're not done. They're not done with this. And if you notice the pattern that they have, I follow patterns for years. They always have like one or two holdout countries. When this all began, it was China, and then quickly became Italy, then came over to New York, and then kind of had that ripple effect. Right now, they're holding India as the holdout country that, all the cases, and you're not there. You don't know what's going on. You just have to trust their narrative, what they're telling you. But they have at least one country to keep the fear reverberating throughout the entire world. So every country's media is talking about India, India, India. And right behind them is Malaysia. They just implemented a new lockdown. So they're going to always keep one or two countries, even though when we are appearing that we're coming back to normal, they keep holding at one or two countries where, the deaths. And so at any given moment, they can, your country can be the new country of the moment. Oh, the deaths, the variant has traveled here. Now we got to lock down. And they're getting you used to the tyranny in the guise of health and safety. They're going to lock you down, and the sheep are going to comply. And the masks and the inoculate, they're going to need. It ends when we say enough. It ends when we say enough, and when we call BS on a lot of the things that they're doing rather. Sorry. People just don't want to admit or don't see how fraudulent, how fake the media is. They just run fake narratives. Case in point, domestically here in the States, specifically in a lot in New York. New York and LA are always very important cities to the world. But, when there's a lot of talk of reparations and George Floyd, and there's another guy that got shot, she lied and said that she thought it was a taser. Like all these things started popping up. Then all of a sudden, right at that time where, people are talking about doing something, boom, all out of nowhere. Asians, there's a lot of crime against Asians. It completely trumped up nonsense. Was there anti-Asian hate? There's hate for every group. There are fools and idiots everywhere, and there's bigots. So, I'm sure there are people who manifested some sort of Asian hate, but to the degree that the media is purporting, absolutely not. This is a fake issue that they're pushing front and center for an agenda, just like with the Israel, Gaza, when everyone was talking about that, all of a sudden in the media, anti-Semitism, there's a rise in anti-Semitism, and we no longer talked about what was really going on because the media was used to deflect and divert the conversation intentionally. And a lot of the normies and the sheep who make up the masses, they just run with it, whatever the media says. And a lot of people are having trouble understanding that It is a brainwashing tool, a propaganda tool. So many people are just indoctrinated and socially engineered to give so much credence to media platforms, not understanding what it actually is. And the awake folks, of course, they know this stuff already, but the normies and the sheep, they really don't. And you can tell by the comment sections, the things that they're saying are just so divorced from reality and indoctrinated and brainwashed. And a lot of our media, not just a little, a huge portion of our media is pure propaganda. A lot of the times they're either lying to us straight, boldly, like lying to us, or distracting and hiding something and diverting us. Not just a little bit. In these days, most of the time. And it's really bad. Crime wave against Asians. So look out for that. They're going to exaggerate cases again, and the normies are going to believe it, and they're going to blame the unjabbed people and people who weren't wearing masks. Ooh, it's their fault. And this is a very serious situation because they're not the sharpest and they're the majority. And this is what they're going to do. So just preparing you for that. They're going to believe what they're told. They're going to start pointing fingers. They're going to get more sheepy than they already are. And just like in Orwellian dystopian novels, the sheep, the programmed sheep, are going to oppress the rest of us. The majority are going to oppress the few who are still awake. But it's up to the source players. It's up to the awake. And it ends when we say enough. Not when the virus is defeated, because that is not going to happen. It ends when the people say enough. So in closing, guys, what do we do moving forward? We need to stop complying to every single thing that we're told. We're being trained like monkeys. This is an era in which we're going to have to start realizing that we're going to have to start to employ a little civil disobedience. The vast majority of people are fast asleep. They're normies. They're pretty much zombies at this point. They don't have the ability to think themselves through what's going on right now. But when you see your government starting to implement things like requirements, medical requirements, for entry into establishments, when you see your government start to, you need to show your papers and your medical requirements for travel, when you see your government start to do this, everything that you've been warned about, every dystopian novel, everything that you know to be something you stand up against, yes, it is happening now. The clueless normies, they just, their brains are fried out. They're scared. And they think that this compliance is good because, when the governments are telling you to be safe and this is for safety, be very concerned. This is not about safety. This is not about COVID. Okay. And when you see a government start to do those things and start to set those rules, this is the time where you stand up. This is the time where you put your foot down and say, okay, enough is enough. Yes, we want to be safe, and each of us individually can do what we need to do in order to ensure that we're safe. But you know damn well they're doing too much, and they're crossing lines. And none of it makes any sense to begin with, because inoculation doesn't do anything. These particular types of JABs, they don't stop anything. They only allegedly relieve symptoms. But propaganda and the media just has people going. But anyway, these attempts to normalize this and have businesses require it and have it required for travel, etc., we don't want this. No, we will not show papers. And a lot of people, they're just that clueless. They just don't understand what's going on. A lot of people in truth communities, we've been discussing this for years, how governments are they're sneakily trying to do this and get these things, increase surveillance, get these new world order rules in place. And the people are just applauding and clapping because their brains are completely fried out. Count them out. They're done. They're getting jabbed up. They're getting inoculated and they're out. But it's up to the people who are awake to put your foot down and, step up. You don't have to be running and protesting in the streets, but start embracing your sovereignty and stop complying to the psychotic psychopaths when you know what they're doing. Even though your friends around you are gone, don't worry about it. Stop complying. All right, guys, that's it for now. I will see you in the next one, guys. Be well.